This is Faisal Khan for Lights Out in association with Shamrock Boxing, and with me via Zoom, all the way from the good old USA. I'm delighted to be joined by William Monroe Jr. William, good afternoon. How you doing, my man?
How you doing, brother?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. What's William Monroe up to today?
Just chilling, man. I just left the park training a few clients.
Mhm.
So I have a few clients that I train.
It's good to see that you're keeping busy throughout this coronavirus pandemic. I mean, what is it that ever since this whole coronavirus situation has come into play, what is it that you're doing to keep busy, obviously, as well throughout the lockdown?
Just actually just spending more time with the family.
Mhm.
And obviously, like no one's able to work right now. No one's able to train. So, we go to the parks and stuff. I have a couple of clients that I train. I meet them at the park. I train them. I take my family to the park and train them sometimes. So just trying to keep our, trying to keep our spirits up more than anything, and prayerful, and staying in touch with our family back in New York, because it hit hard in New York. And we actually moved to Florida summer of 2019. So, we have family back home that we're very, I wouldn't say worried about, but we stay in touch with.
That's good. It's good to see that you're keeping yourself busy, and obviously in terms of motivation, keeping yourself fit. We understand obviously all gyms have been closed. I mean, are you doing work at home, or are you just working as well in the park with family and clients?
Sometime it's both, but I work out with my family at home, and sometimes I'll take them to the park, and the park isn't far from us, so we'll just walk there sometimes. It's cool to get like a little mile and a half walk in, work out, then a mile and a half walk back. The kids are tired, you know.
Mhm. Well, obviously we were scheduled to have some big fights, especially over here in the UK, before this whole
Right.
coronavirus situation come into play. What was the plan with yourself? Were you scheduled to be out in the ring? Did you have any plans? Did you have any fights planned for yourself?
We had just got snug into the seat with with new representation, and I'm, as you see, I'm ranked number 9 by the WBO now, Super-Middleweight. So it was a couple moves being made, and my name was being mentioned in a couple different circles, thanks to David McWaters and Ryan Recton, who I've my advisor who set up this interview with you. So it was a few things being, nothing too crazy, but it was a few things being said, and my name was definitely in a couple big conversations. So
Mhm.
we were staying ready.
Obviously, ranked number 9 with the WBO, and of course, I believe you're ranked fourth in America. So it was pretty much good times for you coming up. It's just a shame this whole coronavirus situation has come into play. The last time we saw you over here was in the UK, was when you fought Billy Joe Saunders. Of course, it didn't go your way that night, but you've been in a good place. Just talk to us about the last 3 performances of yours, all unanimous decision wins. You're really, really coming on to something good, aren't you?
Well, I mean, you see, I think it's just maturity. I think it's just maturity. I had a lot of tough learning curves in this game. You know what I mean? Because of just because of where I come from. You know what I mean? And you know my background. You know what I mean? It's yeah, I had to hit some hard learning curves. You know what I mean? And I think that propelled me. My bad. I'm sorry. Somebody was going by. What was the question again?
Just obviously talking about your last 3 performances and the 3 unanimous decision wins you've got since fighting Billy Joe Saunders.
Oh, I got a little nervous with someone driving by. But
It's okay. It's okay.
yeah, I think it's just the maturity. I just accepted things for what they were, and understood that you know I'm definitely good enough to get what I'm coming to get. But sometimes you have to wait your turn. You know what I mean? There's a part of boxing that's business, and I think that allowed me to like really settle in and just worry about fighting. And then my last 3 performances proved that I wasn't so worried about the business stuff, because I just had a better understanding of how things go. I understood how things would go for me being in the position that I was in, and the adversity that I would have to deal with. So
I mean, if you look at your career so far, you've got a good lot of experience underneath your weight. You fought for the world title twice. People would look at your record and think he's fought for a world title and he didn't win. But what does that do for you going forward in your career? The experiences in fighting the likes of Golovkin and Billy Joe Saunders.
Like I said, those were learning curves. You know what I mean? I think the Golovkin fight, and again, I think the universe and God makes no mistakes. But in my perfect world of boxing, I think the Golovkin fight may have been a little premature. With only 19 professional fights. But then again, I'm also one of those guys that's just like, bet big, win big. You know what I mean? And now looking back, there was really no other way for me to go, because when you're fighting a guy like a Billy Joe Saunders or like a Golovkin, who's up, they have countries behind them, they have certain investments behind them, and then you're just a guy from Rochester who was just good enough to just beat a bunch of good guys. There's no vested interest in you winning. So the things you have to go through leading up to the fight, the things you have to deal with in the contract, in the fight, all play parts in why you won't win the fight. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And this by no means to say that fights are planned, but they'll never take a guy that they have millions of dollars invested into and ever put him in a ring with a guy that can possibly beat him and not make it tough for that guy. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
The people saying, we want to see this guy, Willie Monroe. We want to see this guy, Willie Monroe. They say, okay, well, we're going to fight him, but we're going to have to make him very uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And these are the things that come along when you have, I'm just a Billy badass. You know what I mean? Who's, fuck it, I'll fight anybody. And two of the top guys I lost. But if you look at everybody else I fought, even in the Boxino tournament, you look at Brian Vera, and then the two fights in between the Golovkin and the Saunders fight. These are all top tough guys.
It's good that we're on Billy Joe Saunders. Obviously, I was I watched most of the media week when you was here over in the UK. There's a lot of confrontation between yourself and Billy. I remember you almost came to blows at the Peacock's gym, and his little son, sort of tapped you in the testicles, and it was a lot of back and forth, but it's obviously all fight.
That was no tap. Trust me, that no. And I'm black, man. Oh, that was no tap.
There was a lot of confrontation between you and Billy. What's your overall thoughts on Billy Joe Saunders?
You know what? Overall thoughts of Billy Joe Saunders is he's a by any means type of guy. And you know what I mean? On a morale level, we don't respect that. But on a level when it comes to business, you gotta do what you gotta do. But morale and business have never mixed anyway. So, and I'm one of those guys that they know move off morale, so certain things I'm not gonna do. That's just who I am. But Billy Joe Saunders has no morale. My job is to win, and I understand him because it's a business. It's almost like I hear Billy Joe Saunders is asking for a certain amount of money to fight Canelo, and it's like they're not willing to give it to him. And I'm like, well, the money they're willing to give him, I'll take. But the reason why I can take it and be happy is because I don't have 5 or 6 different companies with hundreds of thousands already invested into me that I have to pay back to them.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So you get my quote when I say brick by brick. I literally built this thing brick by brick. There was never no companies or anything behind or sponsorships, anything behind Willie Monroe saying we're guiding him and making sure he gets to that world title. It was never that.
Because obviously, the reason why I ask you about Billy Joe Saunders is because last weekend, the weekend that's just gone by, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Alvarez. Now, you've obviously shared the ring with Billy Joe Saunders. How do you think he would have got on with Canelo?
I think his life outside of the ring is what will hinder him against Canelo. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That we know no need to throw his flaws out there, but we know what Billy Joe Saunders gets into, and him and the Gypsy King. So their life outside of the ring hasn't been particularly clean. But I think I know what he would have to do to beat Canelo, but will he be able to pull it off? That's what I'm worried about. That would be the only thing I would be worried about.
You mentioned you're up at super middleweight. You know, Benavidez, Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, and of course Billy Joe Saunders hold the belts in that division.
Right?
Which fight out of those four is more suited for you? Which one do you feel as if you're more capable of winning right now in your career?
Probably a rematch with Billy Joe Saunders, simply because I'm more mature now. So it's not and my dad's back in my corner. I have a more solid team. It's not gonna be whether it's in Britain or America. You know, there's a total different mindset. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Different mindset.
I've got to ask you one question about Mike Tyson. You released a video of him sort of like punching the mitts and
Yeah.
proving that he's still got that ferocious power. There's a lot of rumors about Iron Mike coming back into boxing. What's your thoughts about Mike Tyson perhaps making a comeback into boxing?
Man, I mean, for his health, I would say, just leave it alone. You know what I mean? And don't let anyone make a mockery of him and his legacy. I mean, if he was 43, I would say, hey, go for it. You know what I mean? Because when you look at Luis Ortiz, but at 53, I just, just for his safety and health, and the health, I wouldn't suggest that that's something he'd do. It's not something I would want to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. William, one final question. When this is all over and done with, what can we expect to see from you maybe in the latter stages of 2020, 2021? What's in store for the boxing world when it comes to William Monroe?
I tell you this. I tell you a lot of big things in store. Big shouts out to David McWaters and Ryan Recton for really putting things together the right way. You know what I mean? And I'm comfortable with the way things are going right now. But I tell you one thing that's going to be different. Once, this COVID thing passes, and I believe it will pass very soon, I think fights are going to have a different tone to them. Because with social distancing, it may not be able to fight in an arena where there's 15,000 people. It may be only 500 people. So it won't be 15,000 screaming fans and only 4 or 5 are for the guy that's the opponent. You know what I mean? I guess we'll get to see real fighters now.
Looking forward to seeing it, whether it is in front of 15,000 or 4 or 5 people, because one thing's for sure, the boxing world is definitely missing watching boxing on a Saturday night. But yes, William Monroe, thank you very much for your time all the way from America. Much appreciated. And we look forward to perhaps seeing you in the UK again one day for maybe that rematch with Billy Joe Saunders, or who knows, even a fight with Callum Smith.
Those would be 2 dope fights.
We look forward to it. William Monroe, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for talking to Lights Out.
Absolutely. God bless, man.
Thank you very much.